Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to Speedweek.
And I'm Larry Newber. The Martinsville Speedway in Virginia is one of the best-kept racetracks in the country, and it was the scene of a NASCAR tripleheader this past weekend.
The NASCAR late model sportsman chase went right down to the final race. The Royal candidates, a couple of veterans, won. Jack Ingram, already a many-time champion. This was also the last race of these cars under that title. More on that later. With a report on the race itself, here's John Kernan.
Ingram started the race from the 13th spot and needed to move up to at least an 8th place finish to assure himself of the points championship. And to say the least, Jack went into the race looking to drive defensively. On the other hand, Tommy Ellis out of Richmond, Virginia was on the offensive all day long. Early in the race, he moved up on the leaders and let outside pole sitter Jimmy Hensley know that he'd get around one way or another. And the move came on lap 37 as Ellis moved around the 00 car into second place. And it didn't take him long to get around pole sitter Brett Bodine, who won the spring sportsman race at Martinsville. Ellis took the lead at lap 39 and was never challenged again in the 200-lap event. At the same time, Hensley, who went into the race trailing Ingram by 39 points, began to fall back and soon saw number 11 filling up his rearview mirror. But as the laps wound down, Hensley moved up another spot to finish third, while Ingram came home fifth, good enough to give him a record fifth National Sportsman driving title.
Well, it's the tops, because number one, it wasn't decided until here today. And before, always, most of the time, it was decided before I came here, and it was just anticlimactic. And here we are. We got to finish 8th. Jimmy's got to win, and that's all everybody talks about. It started getting on nerves a little bit.
For Ellis, this marked his first victory at Martinsville, while Larry Pearson in number 21 finished second. John Kernan reporting for Speedweek.
The final NASCAR late model sportsman points show that Ingram finished 29 ahead of Hensley. Larry Pearson was third, followed by Tommy Houston and Dale Jarrett.
The accompanying late model stock car race was comprised primarily of local drivers, but there were a few familiar-sounding last names. The red and yellow 82 of Southerner Barry Beggarly, Pelham, North Carolina, set fast time at over 87 miles an hour, a new stock record. It was close the first half, and then all helter-skelter broke out behind him. Sid Carmine's whips around, and it's seek shoulder time, and it takes a few seconds for it all to end. Jay Hedgecock and young Butch Bacchus, one of those old names, precision drove to second and third. Ray's son, Roy Hendricks, was third in Mid-Atlantic points last year and fourth in today's race. Last year's champ of these cars, Elton Sawyer, and Todd, younger brother of Brett and Jeff Bodine, raced, but nobody was a match for Beggarly, who won 3,200.
Race number 3 at Martinsville, the NASCAR Modifieds. Drivers from the Northeast dominate this type of competition, but the man in 57, Virginia's vintage veteran Johnny Bryant, would show the Yanks a thing or two. That's New York's George Brunhosel in pursuit. One of the year's biggest surprises, Brett Bodine led for a while, but crashed less than halfway. The field also included Bentley Warren, track record holder Reggie Ruggiero, pole sitter Charlie Jarzombeck, Satch Worley, Paul Radford, Jamie Tomeno, Brian Ross, George Kent, Doug Hebron, and Mike McLaughlin, whose plans ended up sitting backwards here. It came down to a battle between Bryant and Carl Bug Stevens. Bugs' Dodge bird dog Bryant, but nothing doing. Johnny won it. The symbol of modified racing itself, the nearly invincible man Richie Evans, was killed during practice. Each car raced with a symbolic 61 on its roof. It's hard to believe that after all those years and hundreds of races at well over 100 miles an hour, a short track would be Richie Evans' final turn of the wheel.
Yeah, Bob, probably true, but then again, it's fitting. He had dedicated his life to modifieds, and this is one of those perfect arenas for this specialized form of racing. Legend? Yeah, I'd say. 9 times NASCAR modified champ, including this year, 10 times the most popular modified driver. The 44-year-old began in 1962 and soon began piling up championships, 23 in all, and features easily above 500. Since the early 60s, the bright orange 61, the New York Gene DeWitt-owned modified, has been as much of the legend as Richie himself. The emotion of this moment is so high that the wake was forced to the Rome Civic Center Theater as thousands attended, his car buried at the resort home he shares with Billy Osmond. You know, NASCAR nor any major body has ever retired a number, but this time they ought to think about it.
Racing world will certainly miss Richie Evans. In our next segment, Thompson builds on his wingless legend at Ascot,
while Ewell wings his way to history in Oklahoma. Stay with us.